Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, everyone. This is Drayton Boylston from the Executive Coaching University, and I've got my good friend Gary Henson here as well from BusinessCoach.com. You want to say hi to everybody, Gary?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the call.
And we're glad you're with us today, and as always, we will be recording this just so you know, and we'll put it up on the site. I would love to have you go there and visit it and pass it around. As you know, this is a public service endeavor that Gary and I are holding and have been, how many have we done, Gary? What are we up to? Is this number 4 or 5, I think we're up to?
Number 4, perhaps number 5. Yeah, we've
nice.
done at least 4.
Nice. So we're doing this, Gary and I decided to do this as a public service to the coaching industry, and we'd be happy if you share this with friends, get them to sign up for this. Again, this is no pitch zone. We're not here to sell anything. We're here to help broaden the industry and to provide information to all of you. So in that regard, we'd really appreciate any interaction. Open things up to question. You can use the console. It seems like we've got a lot of good people that are pretty savvy about using the console, and just pose any chats to us, pose questions, and we're happy to get to those. Last time, Gary, we had a number of questions, and we love to interact with all of you. And yes, Gary and I can sit here and talk for a long time, I'm sure. We want to make sure we're addressing things appropriately. So if you do have any questions, just either raise your hand or put it in the chat forum, and we'll get to you as soon as humanly possible. So again, thank you for being here. It's the Coaching Crucible with Gary Henson and myself, Drayton Boylston. And we're glad you're here. We're going to be here for an hour, and we're going to talk about just broad range of things. Gary and I have been chatting about some of the things that we feel are important. And one of those, Gary, just to start this off is, and this is where we get to be the lightning rods. Let's talk about the charlatans in the industry, because we're not going to name names, we're not going to point any fingers, but we want to demystify this and represent the truth as best we can. And quite frankly, Gary, when I see some of these claims that are out there with some of these folks, I won't say it makes me mad, because I'm trying not to go to that place, but it disappoints me. And I think it casts a shadow over our industry, and get rich quick and sell the dream stuff that I see day in and day out coming from people. And I know, especially in the executive coaching space, you have to have solid business fundamentals. You have to have a strategic plan. You have to have all these things that lead to success, and it does not happen overnight.
That's great. That's a great place to start this, Drayton. And one of my favorite things to talk about is when we host training calls and when I'm asked to speak for other groups, one of the things that I do before I get started into delivering my message or the training that I do is to thank people for being on a call like this call today, but also anywhere where you can get trained or get new and fresh information. Because underneath that, Drayton, which rarely gets talked about, is there's a commitment from some people to learn and grow themselves. And I think, when you and I talk and we look at the different angles to the industry and the get-rich-quick schemes and the overnight millionaire schemes that are out there, one of the things that I think all of us need to understand, and I want to avoid using the word hard, because actually I think all of the work that I do, I think is fun for me. I love to do work with people and coach people and train students. But one of the things that I think is significant is a commitment to learning something. So if you said to me, "Hey, let's go learn golf, and you and I go play golf every time that we have the opportunity to get together," I would, number one, want to hire a coach, someone to train me, and number two, in between times that you and I got together and played golf, I'd want to practice and rehearse and make myself better. And if people understand that, aside from what other people are promising, and aside from whatever somebody is saying on their website, I can train you overnight to become A, B, C, D, whatever they're saying, is if you have a commitment to growing yourself, if you have a commitment to learning, expanding, to getting better, it's not complicated to become a coach. It's not rocket science, but you need to be committed and keep the ship sailing in the direction that is true to your heart and to what you really want to accomplish. And whatever it is that you want to accomplish, whether it's making $1 million in a year or whether it's making a difference in somebody's life, there's good information out there as well as bad, and you really can, in this noble profession, really make a difference in people's lives and make a very, very handsome living. But you've got to be committed to that and not get distracted by the overnight quickie schemes that are out there.
Yeah, I like that, Gary, and that is so true. We have to stay very steadfast about our commitment to our personal growth and not look for that magic bullet. And there may be a magic bullet out there, but the reality is, if you're very disciplined and you approach this as a business and you get out of bed in the morning to serve people and to serve them in a good business framework and continue to grow and learn and become, as everybody hopefully in this space wants to become, a thought leader, then you're going to have the success you want. But it starts with ourselves, and it starts with that commitment to, I love what you said about just continuing improvement and learning and learning and learning and attending things like this so you can broaden your horizons and get different perspectives. But know that there's not, one size fits all. It does not work that way. And when you see these people out there, I think everybody, Gary, is under this impression that everybody's making $1 million but them.
Yeah.
Do you get that feeling from people?
Yeah, some of that. Yeah, sometimes I do, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, that's not reality. There are some people making, high six and low seven figures, yet they're pretty much the internet marketers. They're not necessarily what I consider to be real coaches. And you can certainly build a business and make it incredibly successful, but we're here to give you just a little bit of reality. And, one of the things that you and I were talking about earlier, Gary, is just, and it's so important to all of us, is, how do you make money? How do you make money in this industry? And I think that so many people get this tunnel vision about, I'm going to set up my model of coaching based on one-on-one work. And Gary, have you ever seen that to be really, really successful?
The one-on-one work?
Yeah, just exclusively working one-on-one with people in a coaching environment.
Okay, so now you're going to get me. I know you like to poke me and then wind me up and let me go. So here I go.
Yep, get after it.
You're teasing me into giving one of my sermons here. So the answer is yes. I know coaches that literally, and I know you may disagree with this or not get it, but I know an executive coach who charges something in the range of $5,000 an hour to work with, gives people incredible advice, incredible coaching, incredible insights. He's worked with athletes, he's worked with celebrities, he's worked with billionaires, he's worked with a lot of different people, as well as he's worked with people who are brand new, just getting started as a coach or as an entrepreneur. But I think underneath that is, number one, back to what I was saying before, Drayton, what is your commitment? What are you committed to? If that's what you want to do, then you'd better be pretty doggone sharp and pretty committed to that program. And his program is very uncomplex, okay? It's very simple. You either take his fee or you don't. You either pay it a year in advance up front for his style of coaching. He has one appointment in the morning, one in the afternoon, works 4 days a week, so he's only got 8 slots available. He sees you 4 times a month and charges really high fees, and he does one-on-one, but he doesn't do all other models. That's one program that he has, and it's one program only. And here's the key to this, why this one works straight and why it won't work for me or you or most other people, is that his program is the way that he does it, and his whole attitude, his whole way of doing it is being in service to that person. When you walk into his office, his desk has got a great big walnut desk, It's completely cleaned off. There's nothing on the desk. His computer is off, and you have his undivided attention. It's so intense, it almost is painful being in the room with him because he hangs on every word that you say and everything that he does. But that model's not going to work for everyone, Drayton, and that's one of the things that we want to talk about continuously is the different ways that you could do it. And what works for this guy does not necessarily work for you or me or for the people who are listening on this call. Now, here's one more thing before I turn it back over to you that I want to say, and that is you triggered another thought that I had that I want to share with everybody, and that is, what's the definition of coaching? I'm not going to bore everybody with my definition or your definition of coaching right this moment, but I'm going to say this, is that there's coaching like anybody can be a coach for anybody else because you're using the concept that you watch on TV when you see a athlete being coached by their coach. And that means at some level, I was told by an authority in our industry, who I won't mention her name, she said that anybody can be a coach, or anybody could be a coach, depending on what your definition of it is of coaching. But what the definition that you and I are talking about of coaching is actually one person working with another person. That one person who calls himself the coach has actually been trained and perhaps certified or validated by an organization or the organization that they were taught from. In a process, a methodology that they've learned that they know works and that can make a difference for that other person and can move that person from where they are now to where they want to be. So yes, I guess anybody could be a coach, or anybody could be considered coaching another person, like sometimes my wife likes to coach me, okay? But that's not necessarily coaching unless you've been trained and or have a methodology or a system that has been known to work for other people and known to work with clients that really truly can move them, change them, alter their perspective. And that's the kind of coaching that you and I are talking about, a kind of coaching that will shift a person in a positive direction and get them the results that they're looking for.
And there's a few things pop out for me, Gary, about that, and that is, first and foremost, the way we approach things is to be of service to another human being. And I love what you said about that individual you're referencing. The work that we do should make the other person feel like they're the only person on the planet at that point in time. And I consider coaching, be it executive coaching, business coaching, life coaching, any kind of coaching is a serving and a calling. And we're here to be of service to other human beings to help them go to levels that they, without our help, may not have been able to achieve. And in order to do that, yes, we need to have the desire. We need to have this calling of servitude, and we need to have the skills that go with it. And that's kind of on this theme we've started with in terms of just increasing your level of knowledge. Be a sponge. You know, look at the way other people are doing it. Go to an individual site and see how they're marketing themselves and what their approach is and their process, and make sure that you're making things your own. And that's one thing that's important, Gary, for people to think about. You don't need to be a copycat and do it exactly like someone else is doing this. If you're going to become a thought leader and you're going to work at your highest and best use, you're going to bring your personality into this. And I see so many coaches holding back, thinking that they can't be, we call it the trusted advisor, that they can't give an opinion, they can't be that real tough accountability partner. They have to do it a certain way. And what we say is, no, do it the way you feel is right based upon all of this other knowledge that you've gained in courses and maybe certifications, but put your thumbprint on your work. And as you're referencing that individual that's charging $5,000, well, he or she has figured out how to do that and be fully aligned with who they are, their set of values, and the way they approach the world. And another huge thing I got out of that story, Gary, is the confidence piece. I guarantee you that individual did not start out charging $5,000 per hour. What happens is, over time, when you see and fully appreciate the impact that you can have on an individual's life, then you will start charging more and more and more. And I'll give you an example. If you can you sit down with an individual and you help that individual with this huge breakthrough in their business, and that breakthrough is worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, would that person really care what they're paying you, as long as it's less than what they're making in that breakthrough? So we want you to have great confidence and know that this work can be, and usually is, if you do it right, life-changing for people. And have the confidence to charge accordingly. Don't compare yourselves to accountants and lawyers and all these other people. Know that you're helping an individual change their lives and change their businesses in many cases. And that you really cannot put a price tag on.
You can't. And let's talk about that thumbprint a little bit, Drayton. And let's compare that to confidence. So let's just say that you're let's see if I can come up with some different kind a certain type of well, let's just say that your niche is working with used auto dealers, and that's all that you want to coach, and that's the only kind of organization that you want to work with is auto dealers that sell used autos. And if you're passionate about that, if your thumbprint is all over that, and you can go in and work with an auto dealer and change their point of view, change their direction, change the way that they approach their model in terms of business, and you get one client and then two clients and then three clients, and you start using those clients as references, saying, look, I know this industry, I understand this, I don't want to work with any other industry. This is just what I want to do. And if that's what you need to give you the confidence that will have you step out of your box and step out of being comfortable to hold someone accountable, to tell someone that I know the advice, the coaching, the mentoring, the thought processes that I'm giving you is accurate and is going to work for you, then number one, there should be no lack of confidence there, because that's what you do. And number two, what's that worth? If that person's income goes up by $10,000, $20,000 a month, and you're charging $5,000 a month as a retainer fee, just to use a mathematical analogy there, A, you should have plenty of confidence. B, your thumbprint should be all over it. And C, you should be able to charge a very, very fair amount for what you're giving that person, because they're getting a return on their investment. And all of these get-rich-quick schemes, by the way, in parentheses, these people that are offering these programs, if they're not offering a money-back guarantee for what they're teaching you, and that's not posted on their website or somewhere publicly, number one. And number two, if they're not giving you a system, a methodology whereby you can offer an ROI for the clients that you're coaching, and they don't boldly tell you that up front, then maybe they're one of the get-rich-quick schemes, and maybe they don't really have a program that is the quality that you and I are talking about, and will give the clients what it is that they need, regardless of what you're charging them by month or by hour or by retainer fee.
And there's a really important point I hope all of you pulled from what Gary just said, and that is figuring out where your calling resides and honing in on a particular niche that you are fired up about, that you have the experience in, that you can bring things to the table that other people cannot, and serve them and address their points of pain. I think, Gary, if there's one thing that people need to figure out right now is, what is your audience? Who are you serving? What are their points of pain? And what are you doing to address those? I see so many coaches that try to be all things to all people and just take the next check because it'll pay the light bill, versus spending the time to truly figure out who you love to serve, so you get out of bed in the morning and you're fired up about every single encounter you have around that, and becoming the thought leader for that particular segment of whatever market it is. And that's where you start to, as a thought leader, you start gaining a following, you start gaining recognition, things that you're known for, you create a mission that people align with, and therein lies the money. That's where the money is. When you get to that level where people are hanging on your words, they're waiting for your blog posts, they're waiting for your tweets and posts on Facebook and LinkedIn, and you've got thousands of followers, the money comes. But focus on the fundamentals first of who you serve.
And I want to add, Drayton, that sometimes I think you and I make this sound easy or smooth when we talk to each other, but I want to add that this is not rocket science. If you're passionate about something, you'll learn and you'll grow yourself. You'll find the niche and you'll go after something. And Drayton, I'm here to tell you, there are niche markets out there that are like the Grand Canyon. The entire financial planning industry is completely underserved in the domain of executive coaching and business coaching. The entire hospital industry is underserved. I'm talking grossly underserved for executive coaching and business coaching. The entire auto industry and all of its ancillary industries are completely underserved and not being served to any degree by the coaching and the executive coaching industry. And I can tell you, Drayton, that I could go on and on and on with this conversation for hours with insurance companies and the certified public accountant agencies nationwide. These, I could go on and on and on. There's people listening to this call, and there's people that we're going to be touching in the future, or maybe people listening to this recording that are passionate about some of these areas, Drayton, and the industries are screaming for help. They are dying to get people that are that become thought leaders. And how you become a thought leader is get 1 or 2 or 3 clients and notice the patterns that you're coaching people, the blind spots that people have in these industries, the missing areas in these industries that are not being served, the areas that you'll coach people that you see problems and struggles and missings coming up over and over, client after client. After you've had 3 or 4 clients, then you're going to start becoming a thought leader, if not in the industry, certainly in your region or in the size of the companies that you're serving. And before you know it, 2014, you're a thought leader. You're ready to write a book because you've seen something in each and every one of these organizations that you have made a major difference for them. And again, I'm not talking about people that are listening to this that are MBAs or PhDs or the top of the crop. I'm talking about an executive that I know became a thought leader several years ago, took one of our courses, and he just set out on a path, and he wanted to work with his particular niche of people that he wanted to work with, and he chose them because he had an expertise inside the credit card industry. He had a little niche that he was an executive and he had a background experience, and everybody told him, my gosh, you're so skilled and so knowledgeable on this one little teeny niche. And he said, well, I can take that out to other people and other companies that are struggling in this particular niche, and I'll teach them and coach them and mentor them, and I'll bring thoughts to them and help them make their world easier. I'll become an executive coach specialist. And it was a very teeny niche. But when he talked to somebody, Drayton, they knew that he had passion. They knew he had experience. They knew that he was the thought leader. And he was a brand new coach. He just had barely graduated from one of our programs.
I love that, and let's reinforce that point to everyone that's listening, Gary, and that is there is so much opportunity out there that it is staggering, and people need to realize, especially in the business coaching and executive coaching world, and only 1% of coaches, and there's somewhere, the latest data I've seen is 30,000, give or take, coaches around the world, only 1% are executive coaches. And you go to the Department of Labor and see how many executives and managers they considered in their categories for just the United States. There's over 30 million just in the United States that lead and manage 3 or more people. That's just in the States. So multiply that times 20, 30 around the world, and you'll get an idea of how big the opportunities are. And the timing is so beautiful for this. And because you can, as Gary said, you can define your niche and become the thought leader very, very quickly. And it seems like, Gary, people have this idea that there's, you walk around a corner, you bump into a coach. Well, we're in that space, folks, where you're immersing yourself in all things coaching. And you're hearing that, the market's saturated and everybody's a coach and we don't have credibility and all this. And we're here to tell you that's bunk. The opportunities are massive. And we bring data in our flagship course, Gary. We talk about that coaching is the cure for this crisis, and we talk about all the people that, 75% of all illnesses is stress-related, and that goes back to the workplace and all these things. And we can help as coaches in ways that no one else can, because we don't know any borders, we don't know any politics, we don't know any religion. We're simply here to serve other people. And because of that, we're so uniquely positioned to do this, and please know that we're at the point in time as an industry where there are opportunities that reside here right now that will not be here in 5 and 10 years. And especially in the space we're talking about with business and executive coaching, it is ripe for the right-driven, servant mentality people to come in and build an incredible platform to be that thought leader and in turn be paid very handsomely because of it.
Amen. Right on. Those are my thoughts exactly. There must be at least 50 ways to make money in this industry, Drayton, that we haven't yet talked about.
And right on cue, let's see, Gary, I'm going to pull this over here. Can you see this document? It's so funny. Right on cue here. Can you see this document?
Okay. Yeah, I see you. And as you're doing that, I want to say to those that are either not online, looking at the document that Drayton's bringing up, or if you have just joined us, I see we've almost doubled the amount of people on the call since we started. Please go to coachingcrucible.com, coachingcrucible.com, and please blog with us, share your thoughts, share questions that you might have about the industry, pass this information on to other coaches or other wannabe coaches so that people can once a month get on the horn with us and listen to what Drayton and I are talking about. We are a public service, and we want to make sure that everyone, and I do mean everyone, has a fair opportunity to understand more about this industry that I've been so passionate and loved so much for 25 years now, just short of 25 years, business coaching and executive coaching, that Drayton and I are wanting people to scream out about and talk about, and let's add professionalism to our industry. Let's add more opportunities, and let's Let's help people see ways that they can become successful by finding niches and programs and ways that you can understand and bring real quality information and coaching to your clients and potential clients, and you can make a real handsome living doing it.
Yeah, and feel good about that. I think that's one of the things that a lot of people need to move past, Gary, and that is, oh, really? Should I charge that much money? Can I make that much money? I'm here to serve people. And our statement around that is you have to earn more to serve more. And given what we've just told you in terms of the need that's out there, in terms of the opportunities, you need to be paid accordingly with the changes you're helping people make. And you need to make that money to reinvest in your education and your business so you can serve more people. And it's really carpe diem, Gary, because you've got to seize the day right now because the clock's ticking. And you need to seize this opportunity and become a thought leader and do what it takes to build your infrastructure and your platform and your suite of services, as we'll discuss in a second here, so that you can earn enough to plow it back into the business to serve more people and to build a sustainable business. And that's one of the things we were chatting before we got on the call today and talking about making money as a coach. We know that most of you are here, at least at some level, to find out ways to make more money. We hear it from almost everyone, and it's not a big mystery. And this is where Gary and I are going to walk through some of these things, and it's going to take longer than certainly just this hour to do so, because each one of these is, when we teach it, is an hour long by itself. But what we're going to do is kind of pull back the curtain and demystify the ways to make money as a coach. And we just thought of this morning. We have this document that we've been working from for a number of years, and we thought it would be a great public service for all of you just to talk about some of these things and entertain any questions that you have around this. Because back to what we were saying earlier, it seems that so many coaches hyper-focus on one thing, and it might just be one-on-one coaching, and you heard Gary's story about the guy making $5,000 an hour. It is incredibly rare, to the point where I've only seen about a handful of people in all the years I've been in this space that make a handsome living with one-on-one coaching. It is such a rarity that we say our model is 20% of your time. And is that what you agree with, Gary?
That's 20 to 40% of your time one-on-one, and the rest in these programs, things like you and I are going to be discussing in the rest of this call. Absolutely. I think that's a great ratio, something great to shoot for people. And obviously people start one-on-one coaching typically at the beginning, but if you have a sound plan, if you have a good model as to how to grow that, then your opportunities become greater and greater, and the opportunity for you to make money becomes greater and greater as you grow your practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely is. And that's, Gary, we just got a question here. I want to make sure we honor this. Oh, nice. So this is from Joanne. Thank you for sharing that important message of focusing on who you serve. And Joanne, thank you very much. And it's so important, folks. Focus on who you serve. If you figure that out first and then employ some of the things we're going to be talking about, you're going to be golden. You'll be off to the races. And even if you've been in this coaching arena for a long time, take a deep breath and hover above your business and see it as a business strategist would. When I go into organizations, I just hover above it and see it as a fresh set of eyes, and do that with your business too. It's so important. And have others do a quid pro quo reciprocity arrangement with a colleague of yours that'll come in and maybe look at your business and give each other pointers. Gary, one of the things that just brings up a thought for everyone, one of the things that I do every single quarter and then reinforced every monthly with accountability calls, is I meet with a business strategist, and I help this gentleman with his business, which is a very, very robust, hyper-growth entity that's doing incredibly well. I come in with my background, and I help him with his strategic planning, and he does the same thing. He's got an incredible background as one of the top Six Sigma guys in the world. He comes in and helps me with mine. And we carve out a half a day every single quarter, and we divide the day up, and half is focused on my business, half focused on his. And then we, on a monthly basis, have accountability calls based on our plans. So you may hear this and go, holy cow, that sounds like a big business structural thing. Well, it's not. And the reality is you need to approach your business in this disciplined fashion in order to make sure that you're heading down the right path. And we give each other a lot of tough love, and we ask the hard questions, and you should be doing the same thing. And you need to treat it as a business. Yes, it's a calling, and yes, you're here to be of service, and yes, you have to run a profitable business in order to do that. So let's talk about the ways that it can be profitable. And I'm just going to scroll these up just as we work through this. So there are 50 ways, not to leave your lovers, Paul Simon said. There are 50 ways, yeah, there you go, to make money as a coach. And we ripped these out. When this first came about a number of years ago, sat down and said, the 50 came just like immediately. And know that this is not a full comprehensive list. Even at 50, we could probably double this. So let's just, and Gary, we'll just do this as we do just extemporaneously with these subjects. Let's just talk about these, and you'll see, and hopefully we call it getting the can opener to your brain. Just get that can opener, open up your brain, and let some of these things just come in and think about the possibilities with the understanding that you now have your niche identified and you're hyper-focused on that, and you're going to employ these things on your market. So you're not going to be all things to all people. You're going to employ these various things in your market. So Gary, we started with the one-on-one coaching, and do we want to just go into just what people are, we've talked about it, I know, in the past, but give them a refresher just in terms of what people are charging and how that's working structurally?
Sure.
So you look at, yeah, go ahead, yeah, and then I'll come in.
Okay, so I'm going to be real simple, and so we can move on and talk about a number of these. So the way we work our one-on-one coaching programs, we suggest that our graduates work with clients that have employees. So that's not the only thing we teach, but just the majority is that the people that can pay more are people that have at least 5 employees and up, and we have them sign a 1-year agreement. The minimum fee starts at around $2,000 per month. It's a month-to-month automatic rollover agreement, and I'm just going to leave it at that. It's there's ground rules for coaching, and there's homework assignments for the clients, but that's our one-on-one premier package that we teach our clients to start with, our students to start with. And of course, when it gets up to 25 employees, it's more than $2,000 a month. When it gets to 50 employees, it's over $3,000 a month, and so on and so forth. So that's just to give people some baseline as to what you and I are talking about.
Yeah, and that's really good for people to know, and we approach it just as you do, Gary, just on a monthly paid in advance retainer. And I think I'd mentioned I was part of a work group, a study, a big research project with Harvard, and we interviewed executive coaches all over the world, and the average was about $500. If you broke it, had to break it down to an hourly, it was about $500 an hour. And you think about, I just saw some data come through from another coaching organization that had still life coaches made about a third of what business and executive coaches make. And those engagements last a fraction of the time as well. And that's another thing about this space is the engagements are measured in years. And in life coaching, it's months, if not nanoseconds in some cases. So just keep that in mind. And Gary, we got a very interesting question here from Ron. I want to honor that as well. So my personal opinion, this is coming from Ron, my personal opinion is that one of the biggest reasons we have this dilemma of snake oil salesmen in the industry is that too many people have been told that they will make great coaches when in fact they struggle to gain credibility with potential clients. In my opinion, this is particularly true when the person is not seen to be an expert in their particular chosen field outside of coaching. What is your opinion? What do you think about that, Gary?
I think it's pretty right on.
I think it really points to what we've been talking about, too, isn't it?
Yep. It does.
And I think one of the things that everyone hopefully appreciates is that we've been blessed with our individual journeys so that we can take this learned wisdom that we gained over the years as we've just gone through life and put that to good use in service. And that's what we work with people all the time, saying, okay, look in the rearview mirror for a little bit here and see what beautiful lessons and gifts you've been given with the teachers you've been presented with, and bring that to the people that are feeling similar points of pain.
Yeah.
And that is, it's a knowing for me that I have been blessed with everything that I have along my path of life, so that I can learn from it in order to help others, either hopefully not an intervention but preemptive fashion. And that's what, and it's just so important, folks, to think in these terms, in terms of using what you've been gifted with, in terms of these experiences and these knowings now, and bringing that to help others going through similar things that you went through. And that's the way we look at things. That's why we founded the Rescue Institute, to help people save themselves from the lives they've created, because that's what I had to do. That's what I figured out. And that's the type of thing, when you get in touch with that, these other things will become easy. So Ron, great question there. I love it. Love it.
Great question, great comment, and I want to throw I just happen to think of you. You always inspire me to these great ideas, Drayton. So I'm going to add another one. Obviously, we're limited in the amount of time that we have in these calls, but I want to make a statement that I think not only validates what we've been talking about, what Ron brought up in his statement, but also the how-to. Okay, because again, we have so much time to talk about some of the details. Your and my friend David Steele wrote a book called The $1 Million Private Practice. The $1 Million Private Practice, written by David Steele. And that's S-T-E-E-L-E. And Drayton, it talks about everything that you and I have touched upon and more, but it gives people detail as to how to find your niche, how long it takes to build this $1 million private practice. This is not overnight. This is not in 6 months, but it's a diligent, committed effort on your part to pick your niche, to come up with your own plan. I'm not talking about a 100-page business plan, but a 2 or 3-page plan that you're going to stick to, and then sticking to your plan and systematically going through and building, using the tools that you have, this list right here, starting with one-on-one coaching, adding group coaching, potentially adding assessments, facilitating meetings, and doing retreats, et cetera, the ones that we can see on our screen here. He goes into detail as to how to do all these things. So it's called The $1 Million Private Practice by David Steele. It's just, again, in the interest of time, it's a book that just came out a couple months ago. I love the book, and it talks exactly about just what you and I are talking about and have been talking about in these previous calls. Okay, let's pick another topic and talk more.
Yeah, I think the important thing that I see, and we want to make sure that we impress upon you, is that you have the skills right now to do everything that we're going to be talking about here. this list of 50 things, you have all the skills that you need. And this comes back to the confidence piece. We want you to feel confident that you can do more than just one-on-one coaching. And Gary, I think that's one of the issues with so many folks is that they get comfortable and they know that they've had the right training and they've got this gift that they're employing to work one-on-one, and anything outside of that bubble may be a little scary. And we want to encourage you to get scared, to build those muscles, because one-on-one coaching, you are so limited by the hours in the day and, quite frankly, the level of effort that it takes to do that work. It's not scalable. So many of these other things are incredibly scalable. And we always go back to the need and helping these millions upon millions of people who need us desperately. And that's what we want you to be thinking about in terms of this expansive thought process around your business and bringing these other things into it. And let's just go to the group and team coaching. Folks, you can go and do group coaching and team coaching and make 10 times what you are making every hour. And it's very powerful. You have the skills. If you can do one-on-one coaching, you can do group and team coaching. Again, what we started out this discussion about, just build your skills, build your knowledge base, do the research that you need to, take the programs that you need to take, and gain the skills necessary that you already have the basics there, no doubt about it, but just the way the template works to do group coaching and team coaching, and you can increase your income overnight. And you can do these virtually, you can do these face-to-face. There's so many opportunities around this. And I will tell you that in every single organization I've ever been around, they need this. There's conflict with teams, there's fiefdoms, there's turf battles, there's all these things that are happening in every single organization. And you can bring your skills to bear with these different companies to help them to move forward. So the one-on-one coaching is important, and the group and team coaching can be even more impactful for an organization and much more lucrative for you. Gary, would you like to add anything around that?
I'm going to add one more thing, just for those that are hearing with a certain set of ears. If you heard Drayton say that group coaching or team coaching, it fits in a box and it has to look a certain way. Number one, you can put your thumbprint on it. You can do it the way you want to do it. And another word that I like to use with this, and I don't have the value of seeing the rest of the things in this list, so it may be covered later, but group coaching or team training. So there's ways that you can bring real simple, high-quality half-day or one-day or two-day trainings into your existing client. So you get a client, you're working with the client, you're getting a nice fee. Maybe they have a lot of employees, but those employees need training on sales, or they need training on customer service. They need training on team building skills or being accountable to one another, and on and on and on. All the coaching skills that you bring to the table, you can put into longer trainings because you don't have time in the coaching relationship with the client to work with them. So you can do it that way, and you can get paid really, really nice fees, and you can exponentially grow the quality of your coaching relationship because you already have a relationship with these people. You can move them forward in that way. So I just want to put that piece in from my perspective. I'm probably looking at it a little bit differently than others, but I wanted to put that in.
And I'm going to piggyback on that, Gary, because this is a really important point in terms of looking at your business, as we state here, the suite of services approach. You do not have to possess all of the skills to do everything on this list. Here's where it gets very interesting. Again, looking at your business as a true business. you can, and we talk about, you'll see network in a little bit here. We want you to build your suite of services in terms of what you can do as your core competencies, and vetting and recruiting experts in their particular niches that you can bring in under your umbrella, under your suite of services as the trusted advisor in an organization to do certain things and skills that you may not possess. So, for instance, let's say that you don't have experience in the human resources world. So you find someone in your community or anyone else, doesn't matter, that is a thought leader, that has those skills, that if your client needs anything around human resources, you can bring this individual in and make money doing it. So, Gary, our model is when we bring someone else in, they come in under our umbrella, and they're working as a part of our team, and we continue to do the billing. We bill at whatever we arrange with that client, and there's usually a delta of about 20%, give or take, from paying that individual to what the client is paying us. So you can make money through others as well. So 20% on someone that's billing out at $5,000 a day, you just made $1,000 just by simply having that relationship. So yeah, go ahead, please.
Other resources into you, so you're actually doing your client a favor.
Absolutely.
By making the arrangement and helping them to get a whole other perspective on their business and training that they wouldn't know how to find or locate on their own.
Yeah, and here's where we want you to kind of wrap your head around this. You're going to be the trusted advisor. And as such, you're working with their leadership team more than likely, and you're going to be the go-to person for any of their needs. If they need someone with HR experience, if they need someone with sales experience, with strategic planning experience, whatever it might be, you're the person they tap. And because of that, you're uniquely positioned to, if you have the right network and you've vetted these people and trust them, to bring in other thought leaders and experts to help with pretty much anything that organization would need. So this is the place where we want you to get your head out of the weeds and the one-on-one coaching and think about all of these other possibilities. We've seen it, Gary, where we've done a case study with individuals' practices, and within about 15 to 20 minutes, we've told them at least 5 to 6 ways they could double and triple their income, just by looking at things differently and maximizing their opportunity. And it plays back to what we were talking about in terms of when you truly hone in on the particular segment that you're serving and become the thought leader, you'll see you can explode things in terms of business revenue by employing the things that we're walking through here.
Well said. I'm right behind you on that.
So think about, when we say suite of services, what that can mean for you. And this is, you'll find that the people that you tap, that you bring in, will be grateful because you're basically doing their marketing for them. And they're grateful to have these engagements. And there's a quid pro quo reciprocity that will kick in. They'll start bringing you into other engagements because you're the thought leader as a coach and helping an organization that they're working with, and their one-on-one coaching and group and team coaching, all of those things. So we don't believe, from our standpoint, going to a networking event and talking to a bunch of other coaches that don't have work so they can spend their time at a networking event. We believe in networking in terms of approaching thought leaders and complementary disciplines that you can do business with that will help both of you grow your business, because we believe we serve everyone in a 360-degree fashion. So we help our partners by bringing them in on engagements so they will want to bring us in on engagements as well. And it's a beautiful thing when you set this in motion and you have 5 to 10 people in your network and expand your suite of services and let your clients know all that you're bringing to the table, and your business truly can mushroom.
Perfect.
So Gary, what about assessments? What are your thoughts there just in terms of income potential, revenue potential for people?
I have so many things to say about assessments. I'm afraid to get started here, but a couple thoughts that will give people my ideas and my opinions as to how I like. Number one, I can see assessments being a very handsome income producer for most every executive and business coach, and there are some coaches that I know that won't even do a gig with a client unless they do an assessment with someone in the organization, or at least the leaders of the organization, before they work with them. And again, it could be a suite of services that you bring in. So you might bring an expert in to that knows assessments if you don't want to learn them or take the time to understand how to implement them yourselves. And then finally, I just want to make one comment before I turn it back over to you to get a couple words in as well. I met a lady a number of years ago who was making something in the neighborhood of $250,000 a year. About 20% of her income was coaching, and 80% was assessments. She would go into organizations, large organizations, and talk to them about the value of assessments and the many ways that she could introduce them to assessments in an effort to increase the quality of the lifestyle of the employees, increase the performance of employees, enhance the ability for them to hire the right people, to promote the right people, et cetera, et cetera. She did it in reverse. Her way was to get in and make a very handsome living introducing assessments to large organizations, and then the outpouring of that was about 20 to 30% of her business was coaching. They said, well, now that you've identified this weakness in this particular executive, what do we do with that? How do we fire him? What do we do? She said, oh, no, I coach them and bring them up to speed for you, and I have tools inside of these assessments to have me do that. So we could go on and on and on talking about this. I've been using assessments as part of businesscoach.com for over 10, 12 years now, and they've been very, very effective in our relationship with our students, our clients, and the overall company makeup.
And I think so many people, it's a great story and an indication of the possibilities around assessments, and since we're going to be very respectful of everyone's time and our jumping off points coming up here, but I will just say that we'll address this even in greater detail next time we get together next month, because I think this is an area that is so overlooked by so many coaches, because everybody thinks of, oh, the DISC or the Myers-Briggs, and that's it, and that's just not even the tip of the iceberg, folks. So there's so much you can do here just around assessments. And in fact, Gary, I created another company a number of years ago called IntelliPulse that was just based on doing cultural assessments. So there's so much you can do in this area, and we'll get into more of the grittier details of that as we get together next. So we're coming up at the top of the hour, and it's amazing how quickly this goes. Thank you for being here. I'm going to echo what Gary said early on in this call, and that is, we really appreciate you being here, and we really appreciate you being part of this industry and serving people as you do. And please pass the word on. We'd love to have more people. Gary and I are going to march through. We've got 50 of these folks we're going to be speaking to over time. So know that there's a lot of meat here. We want to be at the highest and best service we can for all of you. So come with your questions. Post them on the blog, coachingcrucible.com. You'll get a notification after we post the recording of this call. Please pass it on and talk about it on Facebook and Twitter, wherever else you feel comfortable, LinkedIn, of course. And we're just here to be of service. So, Gary, how would you like to wrap it up on your end?
I would, again, like to thank everybody for being on the call today, and suggest that maybe you and I start going down this list next month when we do our call,
Mm-hmm.
and actually give people an opportunity to see other ways that they can make money as a coach, and maybe broaden people's horizons. Maybe you and I haven't thought about this before, but maybe these are things that are easy for people to adapt and learn and grow into, and use as tools to see that they really can make a great income as a coach, but maybe broaden their horizons and look at different ways that they can bring their particular passion, their niche, their thing that they're interested in most to the table. And I have a lot to say about just the ones that you have on the top of the screen right now.
Mm-hmm. We got a great comment from Dan. Dan, we appreciate this. This has been another great call. I hope you will talk more about assessments in the future, and indeed we will. So
Yes, we will.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate it, and we'll reconvene this time next month. Until then, go serve a bunch of people and be well. Take good care.
God bless everybody.